Hello, my name is David Webb, and this is a video for Dweebovision. I am a Scrabble grandmaster, and in this video I am going to play Scrabble while providing in-game commentary on my moves. Hopefully this will help to improve your game, and be fun to watch. The game has just started, so let's join the action. It's me to go first. This is pretty grim. Now, I can't play the Q, which makes it grim. So therefore, do I change or do I play? I'm inclined to play because I can get a good score for arify, which can be extended to arifying for future reference. 30 points. Great, I draw the U to go with the Q. So I've got quote and quoth on my rack. I'm not going to be able to play the Q and the X in one go, but hopefully I can score well with the Q. I'm looking in column 10 to see if I can place my Q on the triple letter square, 2 above the E. And I can play toque, T-O-Q-U-E. That'll be pretty good, keeping E-X-H. What else is available? Well, I could play quota in column 8, or quotha for fewer points in the same column. I'm not looking for places to play my X because the priority is to get rid of the Q. Although the Q with the U is a good combination, it's a non-bingo-y one, so despite having the U and despite Q and U together having a positive value in terms of rack leave, I'm still inclined to play it. And toque stays available, which is good. Now, Wadley, yep, I think that's good. Has my opponent provided anywhere else for me to play? Well, I could play quote in column 11. 41 points. Keeping HX. And toque in column 10, 34. Well, I think I have to go for the extra points. And in fact, quote plays in this column for even more. .43 points. Q could be extended to chin or cheese, but I'm not too worried about that. Have I overlooked a better spot? Now, Wadley takes a T in front. But if I played quote or quoth in row B, it wouldn't quite reach the double word square. And I can't place my Q on that triple letter square at B10, so I'm going to go with quote in this spot. A balanced rack with scoring tiles, no bingo here. So what I'll be looking to do is to play off my X, get a good score, leave a decent rack leave. Can't see anywhere fabulous for my X. Well, what I could do is play Podex across here. The rack leave's good, the S and the H have synergy, I'm keeping a vowel, and the N is a bingo-y tile, and 30 points is a good score. Wow, what a grim pickup, 2 N's to join the one which I kept, and no vowels. I'm certainly looking to play off 2 N's. I can do that. I can play Tanner in column 8. What I'm going to struggle to do is to score. I'm about 40 points ahead at this point. A could play Nan in row G above Arify. And as well as the ing extension to Arify, there's also an R front hook, which I should bear in mind. So what I'm looking for on this board is opportunities to play two ends. I don't think it'll be possible to play off the H with the ends unless I play Thana or Tanner in column A. That might be worth doing. I can play Thana, placing the H on the double letter square. So at the moment, that's my preferred play, and it stays available. My opponent provides no new opportunities. I have a slight doubt about this, but I think it's good. Thana 13. I draw the Z, which is a good scoring tile, but no balance between vowels and consonants, just the one vowel. And I do now have an R for going in front of Arify. Mirza is good. I can play that in row E onto the first A of Thana. An anagram of Zyram, which doesn't play. I'm looking in column 10 to see if I can place my Z on any of the triple letter squares in that column. Haven't seen anywhere so far. So at the moment, Mirza is my preferred play, and that's going to leave a pretty decent rack leave. If I draw a couple of vowels, I should be in good shape. I've got Frizz in column 11, which is going to score well, about 30 points, so that's an option to consider if Mirza is blocked. Frizz does retain the M and the P, which, although they have synergy, is not something I like to do, keeping more than one high-scoring tile, because it reduces my bingo prospects. My opponent's got 15 minutes left. I've got 16. 60 tiles in the bag. Zin is available in row F, which places the Z on the triple letter square at F6. But that's keeping 5 consonants, so isn't good. I could play Zins to get rid of one of them. Now there goes the first blank, and a bingo for my opponent, 70 points. He takes a 40-point lead. I can't play in row H. I don't have a vowel which goes above the R. Both my Mirza and Frizz spots stay available. And the rack leave is good after Mirza. £32 points. There are plenty of vowels in Ramius, but I'm not going to score much more than this if I use any of them. And I think I'd like to leave them available to go with my vowelless rack leave. Still just the one vowel, no bingo here. I don't have an I for making arifying. This is really not a nice rack at all. I can play Kangle in column 3 through the A of Ramius. And I would have gel cap through that A if I hadn't blocked it with Mirza. That would have sorted the rack out but not scored very much. Great, my opponent has slowed down for the first time, just 12 points. Mull takes an A and an S after it. He's blocked Kangle. So what to do? I could play Clog in column 6 for not many points, but for a great rack leave of ENPS, it would be nice to hold on to my E, given my lack of vowels. But if I'm only playing consonants, I'm not going to score very much. I could play Clag in column 3 for a similar number of points, and that blocks my, or stops my opponent from playing at H1, but he's only got a 3-letter play there at best. But it is more points than Clog. So I'll go with this. Another triplicate of ends, as I had earlier. Through an I would have 9 pins. I of Mirza not available. And through an E, I would have Pennines, which I think is good. And there is an E, an Arify that's available. So if that stays available, I think I will try Pennines. I have some doubt about it because it may just be capitalized as the mountain range. But I am going to try it. Now, if that's blocked, what else do I have? I would be looking to play off 2 ends for sure. Just looking at the O of Ramius in case there's a bingo through that. I would have the non-prefix, but non-spine not good. Well, I am going to try it. Let's see if this stays on. Pennines, 64. And if it stays on, I have some scoring tiles and a couple of vowels. And a 45-point lead. Through an R, I would have rib work. I have 3 high-scoring tiles. I'll be looking to play off at least 2 of them. So I'm looking around for premium squares, which I could use. Not too many. I could play Bower in column 6. Actually, I could play Wok in that spot. Only 20 points. But rack leaves okay. Can I do better? Well, there's row M to consider. Veganic, nice play by my opponent. He's now just 15 points behind. I'm not 100% sure of that. I'm going to challenge it. It is good. So I'm now just 10 points ahead. Row M has been blocked because I don't have an H for going underneath the C. I could play Core and We. Let me see what this scores. That's 29 points, which is good. Just wondering if I could play a cross here on top of this I, but KIB, not good. I am providing a really hot spot by playing Core because my opponent can just place 2 tiles to extend KI and WE. So do I have a play which scores similarly without providing such an easy opportunity? Well, maybe. So that's 29. What about playing wok up here? 34. That is a better play. Can I make it even better? Brick is good, but I would like to play off the W. The B is far more bingo-y than the W. Yeah, I think this is a better play. Great, I have Bustia, which takes an S, so that plays in row N at the moment. And I think Bustia has an anagram. Rubiest, perhaps. Great, Bustia stays available. Now, do I have a choice of where to play it? Well, yes, I do. Looking at the scores, I'm 22 points ahead. And I have two places I can play it in row N, either ending with the S of pennines or going through that S. If I go through it, I'll be placing an S here. So column 15 will be available for a 9-timer, but with an S there, it's also available simply for an 8-letter bingo ending in S. And also, I'll be opening up row O. So to some extent, I'm opening up 2 openings, which is better than opening up 1. But if I played just Bustiers across here, ending with this S, I'm creating no bingo lanes, and there are no bingo lanes on the board. So although I'm opening up the triple word squares in row O, I'm not opening them up to bingos. Now this hurts somewhat, getting a significantly lower score, but I think strategically it's the right thing to do. 62 points. I'm 22 in front. So this is going to give me an 84-point lead. This is going to put me a bingo in front. And I am really creating 2 openings here. It would be quite unusual for my opponent to block both triple word squares. Just scanning the board in case I've overlooked a bingo lane. Ramius doesn't take a front hook, so I think this is the only one available. I've drawn the J, which means I've had all of the 4 big tiles this game. And I can play Joe, J-O-E, at 0-1 if that stays available. I can't use the J for the other triple word square in that row. I'm going to struggle to play off the V as well, but we're getting towards the end of the game, and I'm not needing to bingo, so the V changes in value. It now becomes a useful tile, and it's particularly useful when you've got vowels, as are many of the high-scoring tiles. So I'm not in a hurry to jettison the V. And I note that one of the V's has already been played, so I'm not going to be burdened with 2 of them. My J can go in front of OW in column 3, but I can't see a way of playing any more tiles with it. So at the moment, I'm looking to play Joe at 0-1. If that's blocked, I could play Joel at H1 for over 30 points, keeping EIO-RV, which is okay. Tragi for 35 for my opponent. That's a good play. He may end up getting both of these triple word squares, but I don't think this one is capable of generating a huge score. Maybe a play of OF in that spot. So maybe about 30 points, but if I'm scoring 30 points at the same time, my opponent isn't really catching me. So I'm getting 31 for this. I'll still be 60 or 70 ahead. And I'll be drawing 2 of the 11 tiles, so the end game is approaching. Now I'm just looking at this A of veganic. I could put my J above it, but I don't think I can play a JI something word in that spot. I don't have to play the J immediately, but I do have to play the J or the V, and there doesn't seem much point in hanging on to the J. This isn't a particularly J-friendly board. I like Joel, it scores well, and it provides nothing for my opponent. Wow. Second blank, and suddenly I do have a bingo-y rack. Maybe my opponent will open the board up, given how far he is behind. I could now play arifying if I use the blank as a G. That would only be 39 points, and it would open up bingo lane, so I'm not going to do that. 6 tiles in the bag. My opponent does score quite well out of that triple word square, but he's still 50 points behind. So, I have kept the V. It is now my scoring tile. What can I do with it? I note that BA takes an O in front. And I don't think I can play the V in that spot, and I need to play the V to score. My V could go in front of OW, but there's an A out there, so I don't want to create a bingo lane for my opponent. So, where can I play my V? I can play it here. It's not scoring 30 points, but I don't think that's available at the moment, and I don't need it. This board is really blocked. My opponent is in a bleak position. And this play scores another 17 points, and it's going to leave just 3 tiles in the bag. Now, am I sure there are no bingo lanes on this board? Well, there is, isn't there? There's column 14 for plays beginning EX. I hope I didn't overlook a bingo in that lane. I don't think my opponent can use it. Great, my opponent's challenged. He loses 5 points. If my opponent opens a bingo lane, I probably have a choice of bingos. But do I have a bingo beginning EX? I'm going to be close to one. Don't think I do, though. No, I can't see one. Pretty sure Veganic does not take an S, so I'm certainly not going to try it. Dom takes nothing in front of it at the top left, so there's no bingo lane up there in row B. I am 71 points ahead, and there are 3 tiles in the bag. Seven minutes on my opponent's clock, 8 on mine. So, if I don't bingo, and as the board stands, I don't think I will be, what am I going to do? I have no scoring tiles, which is fine because I think the game is won. I'm looking around for scoring tiles on the board that I can use. Z not really available. Q out of action. J not great. Well, there is the X, but I'm going to struggle to use that. Well, what's my opponent done here? He's emptied the bag, and he's not created a bingo lane. He has generated a hook for himself in column 2, because he can place his A there. Maybe I can use that. So I need to go out in 2 with this rack. So do I have a play TR A? Let's see what that looks like. Well, I don't think I do. So, am I absolutely sure I don't have an EX play? So supposing it ended ER. Just need to consider the blank as a vowel. No, nothing there. My opponent doesn't have a bingo on his rack. Even if he does use the awoke hook, he's either not gonna score very much, or he's gonna open up this triple word square. So I need to focus on going out in 1. Sorry, in 2. So why don't I keep the tiles for exert, which is EERT, play off N and R. Can't see any good way of doing that. Now, what about playing Nats? Only 12 points. Nope, that doesn't look great. Can I extend quote to quota? I could play DRI. Or U. Nope, can't see a way of doing that. 5 minutes on my clock. What about playing tar down here? Then I have X turn to go out, but it's only 11 points. Probably not a great play. But I think it's good enough. If X turn is blocked, have I left myself a second out? I have recent in column 1 at the bottom. Can't see anywhere which scores. Well, 20 points for my opponent. Down at the bottom left. And I have X turn for 15. Just wait for my opponent to challenge or formally end the game. I have a small doubt about this word, but it's not going to cost me the game. I don't think. Is this tempting fate? My opponent does end the game. And the final score, 336 to my opponent, 402 to me. A winning margin of 66 points. So, pretty full-on, exciting game. Let's see what I missed. It was me to go first, and I played Arify, and I could have played Fairy and avoided the Arifying extension, but either move is fine. My opponent's rack. He could have played Twaddly, surely. Yep, he could, but maybe he was holding back the T to use to extend Wadley. Now, this was my rack. Quethy, I didn't see that. That's through the E of Arify, placing both the Q and the H on these premium squares, and keeping OX. Instead, I played Quote for 3 fewer points, giving my opponent the opportunity of playing Cat or Chin and keeping an inferior rack lead. So certainly Quethy would have been a better play. This is my opponent's rack, and Cat was nice for him. This is my rack, and I played Podex fairly quickly, but that looks fine. My opponent's rack, he looks close to a bingo here. He didn't have one, and he played R. This was my rack, pretty awful, and I played Thana for 13. I could have got a lot more points by playing hands at F9. Well, underneath Podex, that might have been worth doing. NNT, although it's much worse than NS, is it 21 points worse? Probably not. But it might be 13 or 14, so I suspect hands is a marginally superior play rather than a clearly superior one. This was my opponent's rack. He had a whole bunch of bingos, including Ramius for 70. And this was my rack. Moz for 34, down here. What did I do? I played Mirza for 32. Well, tricky, because Moz does take an E and an O after it, I think, so that will be setting up my opponent for a big score in row K, so actually I prefer Mirza. My opponent's rack, who doesn't have an E or an O. And what did he do? He played Mull. And then, wow, look at that. Gulp available, playing through the U of Mull. I didn't see that. That would have been a good score and a good rack lead. So I definitely messed up here with Clag for a feeble 13 points. Gulp would have been much, much better. My opponent's rack. And he also scored a miserly amount of points. And here I got out of jail with Pennines, which was the only bingo, so delighted to have spotted that. My opponent's rack. Is this where he played Veganic? Yep, great spot, and a great dump of V, G, and C together. This is my rack. And I played Wok at D3. I could have got 2 more points by playing Gauk down here, which probably would have been worth doing because this S is a really useful floater for bingos ending in S, so I think Gauk would have been a better play. Now, does my opponent have a bingo here? No, he doesn't. He's got a pretty good rack, but no bingo. He played odd, and having not blocked this S with Gauk, it's now available for me. And these were the choices I was agonizing between 8 more points by playing Bustiers beginning above the middle triple word square, or 8 fewer points by playing way to the left, and I prefer my play for the reasons cited earlier. My opponent's rack, pretty bingo-y. Nothing available because there are no bingo lanes apart from this column 14 through the X. My opponent played Treguy for 35, which was a good score for him, but he's trailing by 40 and he's not on turn. This is where I played Joel for 31. I could have played Jiver at A6. Well, that's not a good play because my opponent would very easily be able to play in row A through that J to score 30 points in return, so Joel a lot better. Yeah, my opponent could have played Jeff A, for example. Now, he played Fee down here. This was my rack. Do I have anything in column 14? Don't think so. Now, what's being recommended? B6 via. Yeah, pretty good, making Woke 26 points. I think this is where I played VoIP for 17, so via would have been better. My opponent's rack, he takes advantage of the Woke hook, and this is my rack. Great, no missed bingo here, and I'm really only looking at this column 14 through the X. And I'm in the position now of the game having been won, I need to go out in 2, and this is an easy spot to lose a ton of points, and I frequently do lose a ton of points at this stage because it's just a completely different skill set required to look at outs in 2 and identify the best. So I'm sure I did lose points in this case. I got 11 for Tar. My opponent played Yo for 20, and finally I have Extern for 15. So it's a lot easier finding the best single move than it is to find the best 2-move combination, because you've also got your opponent's move in between to take into account. Anyway, this is the way I like games to be, where suboptimal endgames do not cost me the game. It's great going into the endgame knowing that the game is won, and you can try and find the best combination of moves at the end, and it doesn't matter if you don't find the absolute best. So I think that was a really interesting game. There was one poor move on my part, which I think I may already have blotted out. No, it was Clag instead of Gulp, but otherwise I think it was a reasonably well played game. So I hope you enjoyed watching that and got something out of it. My name is David Webb, and this has been a video for Dweebovision.